Yeah, they're not going to be able to join us.
Oh,
I have two other instructional design people
Oh.
working with me, and they're working on another project. They were hoping they could join us for part of the day, but I said they can join us on May 9th
oh,
instead.
okay. All right then, yeah. So this one is on indigenizing, maybe it looks like we already, so you can skip through that because we've already done the first part, so go ahead. Yeah. We've already went through that. Yeah. So go ahead and skip it. Is it going to do it? Yeah. Yeah, because we've already went through the conflict of education systems. Yeah. I want to get to the indigenizing. Yeah. 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 Oh, maybe we already did that one. Oh, yeah. Oh, it looks like we already did that one. Yeah. Yeah. Looks like we already did that one, so let's go to another one. Yeah. Sorry about that. And indigenizing would have been that one. So let's do the medicine wheel teachings. Yeah. Yep, there you go. Okay. So normally what I do is I do on the board a medicine wheel framework to just to give everybody how we define it and explain it. So that's something that Lee and I will work on from that project, because yeah, I don't have a board here. So Wuliba Mausawaganal, we never called our medicine wheel teachings medicine wheel teachings. That's the English component of what we believe as Wuli, meaning good, Bamausawaganal, our good way of living, good sacred earth walk. You know, so Bamaus means to live. And Waganal makes it a teaching or a noun, so Wuliba Mausa Waganal. Okay, next one. Yep. So we never called the medicine wheel teaching. So right now there's reports out there that medicine wheel teachings are pan-Indian, and you know there's this movement going out there that they don't belong to Maliseets or Mi'kmaq. But we never called them medicine wheels. So if linguists were recording our elders in the past, they wouldn't have said, "Can you give me an example of medicine wheel teachings?" And of course, our ancestors wouldn't have responded to that. But in the collection of stories, there was evidence of a sacred way of living. And so that's what the medicine wheel teachings are to us. So it's an English way of understanding sacred way of life. You know, so we didn't call them medicine wheel teachings. So that's what where the controversy is they're thinking it's something that we invented as a pan-Indian ideology, but it isn't. It's something that we grew up with, but we didn't call them medicine wheel teachings. We're just kind of given the English version of what they are. So medicine, it's good medicine to believe in your traditions, your ceremonies, your beliefs, your values, your ideals, your worldviews, and the language. You know, so all of that is in that medicine aspect of it. You know, to be able to live a holistic lifestyle, you need all of those components, and that's what the medicine is that we carry. The wheel is the circle of life, the cycles, those recurring patterns, a sacred circle. For example, there was a question posed, what does 7 mean? Why 7 why 7 generations? And 7 generations is part of that circle of life. So that way, when we do a ceremony, we go to the 4 cardinal directions, you know, east, south, west, north. Then we go above, we go below, and then we honor within, meaning our ancestry. So that's the 7 directions. And 4 is also important, where they go 4 seasons, 4 aspects of 4, what we call 4 human clans. You know, the red family, the indigenous family, the black family, the Asian family, and the non-indigenous family or the white family. And so for us in the white family, it doesn't separate Francophone and Anglophone, you know, or Swedish, or, you know, it's non-indigenous to us and stuff, and so therefore it embodies all of them. And so the 4 is important. 4 is also important for the 4 phases of the day. When I teach people about ceremony, I start right away by saying we have a ceremony that we do before the sun comes up. So sunrise is at 10 in the morning or 11 or whenever you get up, you know. It's before the sun comes up, so you're in darkness, and so you're there when you see the first light. And so what we do is we have a braid of sweetgrass that we'll use, and the braid of sweetgrass is what we call the hair of Mother Earth. And so when we pick our medicine, this is our teacher of 7-generation thinking. When I pick this medicine, I don't go to the first one and pick it and start picking right away. I go to the first one and I offer my tobacco and I say, thank you for standing here before me as me as a witness to see you, but I'm not picking you as beautiful as you are. I have to leave you behind for the first generation after me. And I do that to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. Then I pick the 8th one. And when I pick the 8th one, I know my medicine is more sacred because I've consciously left 7 behind for 7 generations yet to be born. And so that's what we do. So then we braid it. We braid it. And when we braid it, it's this medicine wheel or sacred way of thinking. May there always be respect for our medicines. May there always be, clean water. May there always be clean air. May there always be a sacredness. May there always be medicines for us to use, whether it's in baskets or in ceremony. And may there always be intergenerational teachings. So these are all prayers. So that's why when we light it, there's we're lighting the prayers, and we use it right to the very end, and stuff. Even when people are braiding it, when we're braiding it like the hair, that's why we call it the hair of Mother Earth. And this is the medicine we use for our sunrise. Because a long time ago, our men used to have long hair as well, and the men the aunties or the grandmothers or the older sisters would be braiding the boys' hair, and as they're braiding would be, today, I want you to listen to your teachers. Today, if you see an elder, I want to make sure that you stop and acknowledge your elder. Do not be cruel to animals. And so all these teachings would be in that child's braid before they go to school. So naturally, the first thing that they did at residential schools was to cut those braids off. And so those were teachings. That was a connection, so and so that's why it was important. So that's what we would have done. So that's why the braid of sweetgrass is important to us. The second time of the day is midday. It's not noon, according to the clock. It's when the sun has met, halfway in the sky. And so, and we gauge by the season what time that is. So we kind of guess or we look for it. And so what we do is it's midday, and in that one, we use the sage. We use the sage, and I'm just going to kind of pass this around. I'll show a little bit here. Maybe there's some in this one too. Yeah, maybe it's easier to do this one. So here's sage, for example, and I have some in the bag as well, but it just smells wonderful. There's different sages. There's about 200 different kinds of sage that grow, and even I tell my students, even if you don't have the sage that you get at powwows or the sage that grows, you can use the spice sage that you use for poultry cooking. You can actually burn that. Just take a little bit and you can burn that, and it's the same idea. So here's a little braid of sweetgrass. See how tiny that is? But I light that as well, and I'll use it all the way to the very end. When it's being braided, if there's little pieces that fall on the floor, we actually pick them up, and I'm looking for it, but I actually had one when we had a basket making session, and there was an elder in the corner, and she was weaving all the ones she got up off the floor, and it was real teeny, tiny braid that she got, and it was just amazing to me how nothing was thrown away. And for her, even the water that we soak the sweetgrass in, we save that water, and we clean our eagle feathers with it. You know what I mean? So we have that water as well that's sacred. Or if somebody is sick in the community, you can say, oh, when I was braiding my sweetgrass, I have some water that the sweetgrass was in. And the elders will use it like holy water, you know, and stuff. So it's that sacred, you know, and stuff. So that's how sacred the medicine is. So I'm just going to pass these two around. Constance, would you come and get it so I don't walk away with the speaker? Yeah. So, yeah. And sage, sage is the one that that invites, it burns what we call negativity. So midday, you might have had a rough morning, you know, and so we take the time to give gratitude for the morning that was gifted to us. We take that sage, and then we'll do our smudging, you know. May our thinking change from the way that it was this morning, what we listen to, what we pay attention to in our vision, what we smell, what we talked about, what's in our hearts. I want to be more active this afternoon than I was this morning. I might have been procrastinating, you know, or I may have to go to a different place and stuff. So we do that in the midday to get rid of that negativity. And then when the sun sets is this one. It's called fungus. So this fungus is, it could be birch bark fungus, and so it just grows on the north side of the tree. North is wisdom to us. So what we do is we just take a little piece of that and we put it in our smudge bowls and we burn that when the sun sets. And so again, that sunset is a time of giving gratitude for the day that was gifted to you, and you still have some time not to procrastinate before the night comes. So you're still given a little bit of daylight to do whatever it is and stuff. So here's our fungus. And then, of course, while you're here, I'm just going to pass this one to you. It's the cedar. So in here you'll see muskrat root. We string it like this, but there's also cedar in here. So cedar is the one we use at night and before we go to bed. Most of the times we go outside and we actually look at Grandmother Moon and we say,